There are 3 ways to learn from other people. The first is to listen to the cassettes and read the books by and about people who've accomplished great things. All the successful people I know and work with around the world are good readers. They just read. They are so curious that they are driven to read because they just have to know. It is one of the things they all have in common. Here's a good phrase: all leaders are readers. And they use cassette programs too, especially while they're in the car or during other times when they can't read. Cassettes can help all of us easily pick up new ideas and new skills. Did you know there are cassettes and books on how to be stronger, more decisive, a better speaker, a more effective leader, have a better effect on other people, become more loving, develop personality, get rich, develop influence, become sophisticated, and people don't use them? How would you explain that? Did you know that hundreds of successful people have written their stories in books and told how they did it on cassettes like this, and people don't want to listen? How would you explain that? The guy's busy, I guess. He says, well, yeah, if you worked where I work, by the time you struggle home, it's late. You've got to have a bite to eat, watch a little TV, and get to bed. You can't stay up half the night and read. And this is the guy that's behind on his bill. He's a good worker, hard worker, sincere. But remember, you can be sincere and work hard all your life and wind up broke, confused, and embarrassed. You've got to be better than a good worker. You've got to be a good reader, a good listener. At least he could hear a good cassette on the way home, right? Now, you don't have to read or listen to educational cassettes half the night. Although if you're broke, it's a good place to start. But here is all I ask. Just 30 minutes a day. That's all. Stretch it to an hour if you can, but at least 30 minutes. Half rich isn't bad. 30 minutes. Hear or read something challenging, something instructional, at least 30 minutes a day. And here's the next key. Every day. Don't miss. Miss a meal, but not your 30 minutes. Hey, you can get along without some meals, but you can't get along without some ideas, examples, and inspiration. There's a Bible phrase that says, humans cannot live on bread alone, or food alone. It says the next most important thing to bread is word. Words nourish the mind. Words nourish the soul. Humans have to have food and words to be healthy and prosperous. Make sure you have a good diet of words every day. I told my staff one day, some people read so little they have rickets of the mind. And also remember, to properly feed the mind, you must have good balance. Don't just read or listen to the easy stuff. You can't live on mental candy.
The point is, engaging people have that kind of energy. It doesn't matter who they are, where they are, they have that kind of experience. So what you and I got to do is got to tap that out. So how many of you have had times when you were in the flow, where energy was going through you, like you didn't have to think about it. The right thing was said, the right thing came out of you? Who's been in this place before? Say I. Oh, come on, say I. Who's ever had a time where you did something, after you did it, you thought, I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I did that. That was so stupid. Who's done this before? Say I. Who's done something where after you did it, you went, that was me. I don't know how I did that shit. That was cool shit. Who's ever impressed yourself? Say I. Now you're the same person. How come one situation you're an idiot, the other one you're brilliant? Who's ever forgotten how to spell your own, how to remember, let's say, your own email or your home phone number, or how to spell a difficult word like the? Let me see your hands here. In fact, phone numbers are crazy now for most of us, right? Because now we have this outboard brain. If we lose this brain, we're screwed. I don't even know how to call my mom, for God's sakes, right? You don't know what to do when you don't have this thing. So the point of the matter is, if we increase the energy in the work, so now here's the thing, where does energy come from? Does energy come from sleep? Yes or no? Really? Who here has ever slept 8 hours and still been tired as shit? Let me see your hands right here. Okay, so that wasn't it, right? Is it food that gives you energy? Really? Thanksgiving's coming. I know what you're going to do, right? You're going to get to Thanksgiving. It's about giving thanks. You're going to take care of this nurtured body of yours. You're going to say, no, give me the vegetables, a little this, a little that, right? Now, what do people do at Thanksgiving? What do? Eat everything within reach. And when you're totally stuffed and you can't have another bite, and you say, I'll never what? I'll never eat again. And somebody goes, pumpkin pie? You go, okay. Come on, who knows what I'm talking about here? And by the way, what happens after? You feel like going for a run? What do you want to do at the end of that meal? Tell me what. Who here has ever fasted for 5, 6, 7 days or more, gone on a fast? Does your energy increase or decrease as you no longer eat? Which one? Increases massively. So if it's not food and it's not sleep, don't get me wrong, those are useful, then what is it? The answer is, it's psychology. It's a mindset. It's a decision inside yourself where you say, I will no longer tolerate low energy in my life, because low energy equals shit relationship. That's a technical term. Low energy means low, lousy business. Poor energy means I no longer have the the impact on my children. Someone else with greater energy is going to. And if we can find a way to increase our energy, and here's the good news about it, it's psychology and it's movement. The way you move will create it.
For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, and to another 2, and to another 1, and to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents. And likewise he that received 2, he also gained other 2. But he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth, and hid his Lord's money. And after a long time the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoneth with him. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou hast delivered unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained besides him 5 talents more. Look at me, God, I did good. That's not in your Bible, that's in mine. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee rule over many things. Enter into the joy of the Lord. He also that had 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. And his Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joys of the Lord. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown and gathering where thou hast not strewn. Watch this closely. I was afraid, and I went and hid thy talent in the earth, and lo, there thou hast that which is thine. His Lord said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not and gather where I have not strawed. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received mine own with usury. Take therefore the talent from him and give it unto him which have 10 talents, for unto everyone that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not, it shall be taken away that which he seemeth to have. Can the church say amen? Remain standing. I'm going to pray with you while you're standing. I do that so that you can't sleep while I'm preaching. Tonight I'm going to talk to you about the instinct to increase. The instinct to increase. Say that with me. The instinct to increase. Say it again. The instinct to increase. God never intended for you to stay where you started, in where you began. Just maintain, neutralize, and wait on him. There is something down inside of you that God wants to bring forth. The very first command, the very first word that God said to man was be fruitful.
In my 30s, I was homeless based off of a decision I made. October 8th, 1985, I walked in a comedy club for the very first time. Never been in a comedy club, but I had been writing jokes all my life. 2 years, I was writing jokes for a dude taking my jokes, going to a comedy club. He was paying me $10 for it. I had never been to a comedy club, had never heard of a comedy club. I was writing for a buddy of mine named AJ Jamal. He would pay me $10 a joke. One day, I was writing some jokes for him, and I was over his house to drop him off, and this girl named Gladys Jacobs came over to the house, and she said, You the dude that's writing the jokes for AJ Jamal? I said, yeah. She said, he the funniest dude at the comedy club. I said, at the what? She said, he's the funniest dude at the comedy club. I'm 27. I've never heard of a comedy. Now, all my life, I wanted to be on TV. I'm going to tell you that story a little. But I just said, man, at the comedy club, she said, you should come. She said, why don't you tell the jokes yourself? Really? Tell the jokes myself? She said, yeah. Now, I'm thinking, I said, man, this could be what I've been asking God my whole life. See, some of you in this spot where you keep asking God, what do I do next? What's my next move? You know the hardest thing about your life? Trying to figure it out. Ain't that hard? But do you know that you ain't supposed to do that? Do you know that God already designed you for a purpose in life? And if you would just simply ask God what it was, he could guide you to it, and the search for what I'm supposed to do would be over. But oh no, we so busy figuring it out. I got news for you. How to do something, the how-to is none of your business. That's what I never knew. So I was just wanting, man, to just be on TV since I was a little kid. And this girl said, come to the comedy. So I go to the comedy club with her. She said, we gonna go Tuesday night. I want you to sign up to perform next week. And then I want you to see how I go first. I said, cool. So I went, I walked in the comedy club. I signed up for the following week. And I sit down. I didn't have no money back then. This girl named Gladys Jacob bought me some chicken wings and grapefruit juice. And I was sitting there watching. It was supposed to be 10 dudes perform. 9 of them went up. Now, I ain't laughed all night. She said, "You're not laughing at none of these jokes." You know why? Because what they were doing was my actual gift. It was the thing I've been doing my whole life. So I wasn't laughing at their joke because I knew everything they was going to say. And I knew everything they should have said where the joke would have really been funny. So I'm just sitting there just a student, man.
Your dream is possible, but not only is it important that you believe and begin to know that it's possible for you to live your dream as you run toward it, but I've done something that I want to share with you called Choosing Your Future. In fact, I've developed a set of tapes talking about how to begin to create your own reality by choosing your future. And not only is it important for you to know it's possible for you to choose your future, but it's necessary that you work on yourself, that you develop yourself. It's necessary that you get the energy drainers out of your life, people who don't want anything, people who are not striving, people who are not challenging themselves, people who aren't growing, people who have stopped dreaming. It's necessary that you align yourself with people and attract people into your business who are hungry people who are unstoppable and unreasonable, people who are refusing to leave life just as it is and who want more. My mother used to say, birds of a feather flock together. If you run around with losers, you will end up a loser. It's necessary that you get the losers out of your life if you want to live your dream. It's necessary to know that everybody won't see it, that everybody won't join you, that everybody won't have the vision. It's necessary to know that a lot of people like to complain, but they don't want to do anything about their situation, that you are an uncommon breed. You know, you have to know within yourself that I can do this. Even if no one else sees it for me, I must see it for myself. That's necessary. It's also, ladies and gentlemen, necessary that you be creative when you're working on your ideas, that you understand the importance of changing up, of readjusting your strategies. Many times we can have a great idea, but if you're not advancing it in the right way and things don't happen, you become discouraged and think the idea doesn't work. No, that's not true. It's necessary that we become creative. I remember when I was in New York walking down the street, and a guy approached me and said, "Hey, mister, can I shine your shoes?" And I said, "No, I'm in a hurry. I don't have time." I kept walking. Someone else said, "Hey, man, your shoes look clutty. May I shine your shoes?" I said, "No, I don't have time. I'm sorry, I'm busy." And I was walking fast, and many people solicited me for my business. And then finally, a young man stepped in front of me, and he said, "Excuse me." And he started counting, 97, 98, 99, 100. He said, "Sir?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Come here, please." I said, "What is it?" He said, "Today is my birthday. And every year, just to thank God for another year of life, the 100th person who passes my shoe shine stand, I offer them a free shoe shine. Would you give me the honors?" I said, "Why, sure." I got up on the shoe shine stand, George, and I sat there, and he shined my shoes diligently. And when I got down, I looked at them, they were sparkly. And I was walking away, and I said, "Thank you." And I stopped, I said, "Excuse me, but how much do you usually charge?" He said, "Only $2. I said, "I tell you what, today's your birthday. Here's $5, keep the change." He said, "Thank you." As I was walking away, looking in the opposite direction at other people coming, he started counting again. 97, 98, 99, 100.
It's hard to find a mentor that's got all the qualities. Somebody mentors you in good health. Somebody mentors you in spirituality. Somebody mentors you in business and career. Somebody mentors you in friendship. It's hard to find it all in one package. But you know, genius comes in strange packages sometimes with their idiosyncrasies. If we could have lived around some of the geniuses of the past. Leonardo, I mean, he might have been impossible to live with, right? But he had this incredible genius. So sometimes you got to look past the idiosyncrasies and faults and not look so much at the strange package that this genius came in, but to appreciate the genius. Unless it's totally intolerable, and some have lived fairly almost intolerable lives, right? But they had this genius. The life of Van Gogh. I mean, this was a strange character, right? He cut off his own ear. He had some torments. But his irises now sell for what, 40 million or something? We now consider him a genius. It was a rather strange package. And then I found that geniuses have no sense of time. If you would have had a chance to meet Michelangelo, and Michelangelo says, "Why don't you come and see me work?" Say, "Okay, I'll come tomorrow morning." And you get there, 8, 9 o'clock, and he's been there since 4. And he tells you, "I got here a long time ago." And you say, "Well, isn't that early to go to work?" And he says, early. What does early mean? And maybe it's 10 o'clock at night, and he's still chipping away at something, right? His genius is working. You say, "Michelangelo, isn't it a little late?" He says, "Late? What does late mean? I don't comprehend. What does that mean, late?" So it is true. You have to sort of tolerate the inconsistencies of some very remarkable people who have much to share. Too bad about my friend and my mentor, Earl Schoaf. He drank champagne every day. Champagne's okay, but not every day. And he smoked his Camels. He was not a chain smoker, but pretty close. Back when the packages didn't say, "These things will kill you." So what are you going to do? So he smoked his Camels and drank his champagne. And on that, he miscalculated. For all of his other wisdom and uniqueness, he miscalculated on his champagne and his Camels. He just didn't have any concept that they were going to kill him, at least that early, age 49. So that taught me as well. You got to take a look at all the systems and make sure you're not a bit disillusioned by something that can someday shorten your life or do you in or wreck your enterprise or disengage your marriage or whatever. You got to keep looking at everything. Carelessness and casualness sometimes creates casualties, both on the freeway and in business, marriage, friendship. My advice started long ago, I think, when I said be a student, not a follower. I mentioned in one of my seminars, I seek no disciples. I'm not looking for a following. I just want to find people who want to share good ideas, come together and let me share my experiences and see if that's valuable. Personally, I wouldn't be so enamored, I think, by someone as to sort of make them a god and make myself a disciple. I would not do that. Only the Lord's disciple. Because on the radical side, it can cause trouble, You wind up in a fire in Waco, Texas. Koresh and his followers. So that's the radical extreme. Let me quickly give you now a list of the skills that changed my life forever. Developing a new philosophy that I could do it in my network marketing experience now led me to developing new skills. Right? I knew how to milk cows, but didn't pay well. Here's the first skill I learned to change my life. Getting a customer, making a sale. If you share a unique product, talk about its merits, persuade someone that it's the best, they agree to buy, that's the simple art of sales. So we're not talking like high-powered spacecraft technical skills here. It's simply sharing something you've discovered with someone else and doing it well enough to where they agree they would like to participate. Now here's what happened when I learned sales. It multiplied my income by 5. Now, it didn't take that much because I wasn't doing that well in farm country, but it did multiply my income by 5. Sales, getting customers, laying that incredible foundation for an entrepreneurial career. So now I've got 2 skills, milking cows and making sales. Here's the next one I learned. It changed me forever, and that's recruiting, introducing the business opportunity to new people, learning how to give a good invitation, learning how to give 2 kinds of presentation, formal and informal. And the third part of recruiting, of course, is following up. Once you start a new life, now you got to take care of it, like a new mother would take care of her baby. You don't start a new life and abandon it. You start a new life and nourish it like a mother, protect it like a father. You got to be both mother and father to a new person. Nourishment, ideas like a mother. Protection, help defend your new life against the encroachment of outside voices that would try to talk them out of it. So you got to be mother and father in this art of recruiting. We call it being a sponsor. And being a sponsor is like being a bridge, helping somebody from darkness to light, from skeptic to faith, from not knowing to knowing, from no confidence in themselves to starting to gain confidence. You're the bridge that helps people from the shadows to the sunlight. It's one of the most exciting positions to occupy in all of network marketing industry, is the bridge, helping people crossing the bridge out from discouragement into recognition. Being this bridge, that's what the recruiting magic is all about. You've got the answers. They've been looking for the answers. You've got the answers. And you help them cross this bridge. You see something in them before they can see it in themselves. You assure them that it's possible to be more than they are. Therefore, they can earn more than they've got, have more than they possess. This is one of the great arts in the world. And here's what's exciting about this art. It pays big money. Because now you operate a unique philosophy taught first in the Bible. Because the question was asked, how can we achieve greatness, great wealth, great power, great influence, great recognition, great self-esteem? How can we achieve greatness? The master teacher was asked. And here was his formula for achieving personal greatness. He said, find a way to serve the many, for service to many leads to greatness. For those that are interested. Some people aren't interested, but for those that are, service to many leads to greatness. Someone says, well, best I can do is just take care of myself, which is okay, but it doesn't lead to greatness. Somebody says, I got enough bills of my own, I can't worry about someone else's bills. That's okay, but it doesn't lead to greatness. Greatness is helping people pay their bills, you forget about yours. Because if you help enough people pay theirs, yours disappear. Help people with problems, your problems disappear. The key to greatness, the master teacher taught, is finding a way. Now, a lot of people would like to serve many people, but they don't have a way. And what's exciting about you and your business is you've now got the way. Whether you use it or not is up to you. Whether you cash it in or not is up to you. Whether you make a fortune or just a little, that's all up to you. Each person's ambition, it's called the same marketing, the same product. The products are the same for everybody here. The marketing system is the same. The difference is each person's philosophy and each person's individual ambition. But whatever your ambitions are, now you've got the ways and means. And here's what you've got the ways and means to do. Serve as many people as you would like. Now here's what's exciting about recruiting. With what you're involved in here, you can directly and indirectly affect the lives of dozens of people. Some of you are going to directly and indirectly affect the lives of hundreds of people. And some of you, if you wish, can directly and indirectly affect the lives of thousands of people. And the pay is accordingly. If you affect a few, you earn that pay. If you affect the many, you earn that pay. But the secret is found in the Bible. Service to many leads to greatness. Now, John Kennedy said it in his inaugural speech. Here's what he said. Don't ask Don't we wish that was the current political philosophy? John Kennedy said, don't ask. That's important if you understand philosophy. He said, don't ask what the people can do for you. Don't ask what the country can do for you. Don't ask what the government can do for you. That's not how you get rich. That's not how you have high self-esteem. That's not how you get trophies to put on the mantle above the fireplace, asking what the people can do for you. Don't ask, he said, what the people can do for you, but ask, what could I do for my country? And the country means the people. What could I do for the people? I want trophies. I want recognition. I want high self-esteem. I would even like a chance to make a fortune. John Kennedy says it's easy. Don't ask what the people can do for you, but ask, what could I do for the people? Could I directly and indirectly serve many in my country? And now that you are participating in this program, the answer is yes. Now, Zig probably said it best. Zig's got some great problems. Zig and I have been good friends for a lot of years. Zig says money isn't everything, but it ranks right up there with oxygen. Yeah, Zig, you're right. Zig says, my dentist told me, Zig, only floss the teeth you want to keep. You know, forget the rest. But here, Zig is famous for this now. This is one of Zig's philosophies, and it goes right along with the other two, the Bible and John Kennedy. Here's what Zig says. If you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything you want. If you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything you want. Now, wanting everything you want, we call that self-interest. But it's okay to have self-interest if you do it in a positive way. By helping enough people get what they want, you can have everything you want. Now, you can accomplish all that by learning this next skill called recruiting. And I learned it, and it made me fortunate. So now I've got 3 skills: milking cows, making sales, and recruiting. Here's the next skill I learned that paid big money: organizing. Once you got a few, get them to work together, see, and that's magic. Getting people to work together is magic. Now, yes, it's challenging, like having some, several members of your family, getting them to work together is challenging, but it's magic. Getting husband and wife to work together is challenging, but it's magic when it happens. But everything magic is challenging. You just got to jot that down. Everything magic is challenging. But once you figure out the challenge and go for it, then the magic occurs. Let me tell you how magical people working together is. Let me quote the Bible again. It says, if 2 or 3 agree on a common purpose, nothing is impossible. Just try that on for your mental size. If 2 or 3 agree on a common purpose, nothing's impossible. Everybody's looking for a challenge. Here's what I teach, especially the kids. Here's the best challenge in the world. Let's go do it. Not you go do it. Let's go do it. If 2 or 3 of us decide on a common purpose to do it, nothing's impossible. Incredible. Working together, organizing. Now, when everybody's an independent, now it's a little more challenging. Like having kids, they've each got their own opinions. They've each got their own ambitions and desires. It is challenging. You've got a variety. But that's what makes life, the variety. Getting people to work together. It's like herding cats. Sheep are easy, but you got to try cats, herding cats. But if you can possibly get it done, the power is so immense when you get people to work together. Here's one of the powers of working together: shared testimonials. If I've got somebody new and you're there and I'm there, I give them my testimonial, you give your testimonial. Maybe what tips the scales in getting me a new person is not my testimonial, but my partner's testimonial. Somebody I'm working with, their testimonial got them. Shared testimonials are so powerful. That's why working together is powerful. Now, working by yourself is okay. All this stuff is okay. Everybody needs to know, though, where are the advantages? And these are some of the advantages. I learned to organize, paid big money. Here's what I next learned to do: promote. Promotion now pays staggering money. Here's one of the secrets: rewarding people for small steps of progress. Rewarding people. Sometimes it's just recognition, handshake, pat on the back. Mary, you're doing a fabulous job. And you figure out what those recognitions are. Small steps of progress. Guess what promotion pays if you learn it well? Big money. Getting people to do something they wouldn't ordinarily do by themselves. People will do some unique things by themselves, but if you can figure out a way to say, Mary, if you do this and this, she says, well, I'll go for it. Now, she wouldn't have thought of that on her own. Here's what works magic. It's better than money. Money's a bit unimportant. Here's what's important: ingenuity. The best place to wake up your ingenuity is what you're doing right now. Representing a unique product and getting customers, recruiting distributors, and promoting and all this stuff. Ingenuity. Figuring out a way. If it doesn't work this way, we'll work another way. I used my ingenuity, made a fortune. My ingenuity worked on doing all these campaigns: the spring campaign and the summer campaign and the winter campaign. This week we're going to recruit school teachers. How many of you got it? many of you got? This is school teacher week, school teacher month. I'd pick out a little category and say, let's go for it. And it doesn't matter what it is. Just dream up something so that somebody's got a little more objective to go for than just their own. Key phrase, we all need to belong to something bigger than ourselves, because we furnish inspiration for what's bigger, and the bigger furnishes inspiration for us. I learned promotion and it paid big money. Here's next I learned. Communication, how to conduct a meeting. I learned identification, logic and reason, attack and confess, solution. Simple deals on communication. Wasn't easy for me at first. I stood up to give my first presentation, my mind sat back down. Right? Y'all been through that? Opened my mouth, nothing came out for a while. But here's what I did. I did it again. Just jot that phrase down. I did it again. That's the secret to how I got here. 35, 40 years later, that's how I got here. I did it once, it was uncomfortable. That first presentation was so lousy, if I hadn't have been doing it, I'd have gone home. It was not that good. But here's the secret to how I got here. I did it again, and then I did it again, and then I did it again, and I did it again. I remember when I first decided to be a little more animated, right? And walk out away from the podium, right? Get out from just behind the podium. So I got out there, and then I thought, how do you get back? Whoa, I'm stranded out here. Remember those times? Doing something for the first time? But you learn quickly in your business, right? In your business, the guy stands up to give his first testimonial, and he's so nervous he forgets his own name, right? And 30 days later, he wants to give a 3-hour testimonial, right? You can hardly get him off the stage. So, learn communication. How to affect other people with words. That's the greatest art in the world to learn. How to affect other people with words. Key phrase, don't be lazy in language. If you learn to use the gift of your own language wisely, it can make you a fortune and build an incredible life. Here's 3 other things I learned. One is to train. Training people how the business works. And then I've used another word called teach. Train and teach. And only to say this. Training people how the business works. Teaching is how life works. Because here's what all of us need for the 21st century. Business skills and life skills. The life skills are leadership skills. The life skills are learning how to set goals. Now here's the ultimate skill to learn that can transform your life and the life of whoever will listen. The ability to inspire. Inspire means help people to look up a little higher than where they are and wish they could get there. And inspire them that it's possible. Here's how we inspire, by our own testimonial. If I can do it, you can do it. Here's how else we inspire, by others' testimonial. If they can do it, Mary, you can do it. Getting people to see themselves better than they are. Getting people to see themselves richer than they are. Getting people to see themselves more capable next year than they are this year. Getting to see themselves in the future. To help both your kids and your people. Here's what you must learn to do. Number 1, help people to see themselves as they are. If people have made mistakes, they got to know it. You can't go on making mistakes and hope to achieve. Mistakes have to be corrected. And you've got to do it with your children. Help them to see themselves as they are. If they've messed up, here's what you've got to say. You've messed up. But here's what's important as a parent. Don't leave them in the mess. Some parents tell their kids they've messed up and then they leave them in the mess. They don't paint a better picture. Here's what you could become with just a couple of more changes. Rather than this, here's what you could be. So we must help our children see themselves as they are, but here's the greatest gift. To help our children see themselves better than they are. To transport them not only past to see their mistakes, but transport them to the future to see their opportunity. To see the person they can become. My mentor had that greatest gift to help me to see myself better than I was. At first it was difficult to see, then I started to believe, and that's how I got here today. He said, one of these days, Mr. Rohn, you'll walk into a room full of people, and you will hear some of them say, that's him, that's the famous man. I said, well, that could never happen to me. He said, trust me, if you keep working hard on the disciplines like you're doing right now, that'll happen. Jot these notes down now on leadership. Here's the first one. To attract attractive people, you must be attractive. Sometimes when we need other people in our enterprise, we go to work on them. When the real key is, first of all, to go to work on yourself and become an attractive person. Now, it's not a bad idea to ponder and think, what would make me an attractive person? Here's one, a refinement of philosophy so that you really understand life and challenge to the best of your ability. Your philosophy about the marketplace and politics and government and the work ethic. Your philosophy of values and contributions. Your philosophy that understands each of us need all of us and all of us need each of us. Each value is important. The miracle of America is all the gifts that have been flowing in here for the last 300-400 years, especially the last 200 years. No country in the last 6,000 years has become such a depository of the gifts of the world like America has the last 200 years. times. There's been nothing like it in recorded history. So many of the gifts of the whole world deposited in one country. My grandparents came from Odessa, Russia. They were German, but when Peter married Catherine all those years back, it opened up the door for a lot of the Germans to move to Russia. And they moved and taught the Russians farming methods. And my grandparents moved to the Ukraine, Odessa. When I lectured in Moscow, some came all the way from Odessa up to Moscow. Now they want me to come from Moscow down to Odessa. And my grandparents came from Odessa, came to America, settled in a place in central Washington where a lot of the Germans came, and they called it Odessa, Washington, named after Odessa, Ukraine. My grandfather served in the Tsar's army a long time ago. In the Tsar's army, they had this deal. Based on your deportment, you got certain points. And if you accumulated enough of these points, you got to put your name into a lottery. And my grandfather accumulated enough of these points based on his deportment in the Tsar's army and got to participate in a lottery. Guess what happened to those who won these lotteries that they held every once in a while? You got to pick up your family and go to America. And my grandfather won one of these lotteries in the Tsar's army, picked up his one son and his wife and moved to America, Odessa, Washington. And my father was born in Odessa, Washington. Interesting, huh? Wow. The gifts that we have in this country are so multiplied. People from all over the world have come here, and they didn't come empty-handed. They brought their recipes. They brought the work ethic. They brought the gift of language. They brought the gift of law. They brought the gift of music, the gift of medicine, the gift of healing. Wow. America is such a composite of all the gifts of the world. The ethnic streams that have been flowing in here have made us great. Ethnic cleansing. Where would we start? Amazing. Now here's what we need to do. Participate in the gifts that America has. Now here's the joy I have, to go back where these gifts came from. That's why I love to go back to Italy, and I love to go to Poland, and I love to go to Czechoslovakia, and I love to go to Israel, and I love to go to all the places around the world to see where America came from. And then the gifts they brought here helped me to develop my gifts. Now I'm taking some of my gifts back to where it came from. Can you imagine the feeling of now making that transcontinental contribution? Because they came here, now I go there. It's big time for a farm kid from Idaho. But to attract attractive people, you must be attractive now, working hard on yourself. Jot this down. Leadership is really the challenge to be something better than mediocre, something better than average. The step above, not just to be above from ego standpoint, but the step above so you can help someone else. What speaker was it that said, in order to lift someone up, you must be on higher ground? How true. And the challenge of leadership to be something more than average or mediocre has these components. Make this list. This is a good list. Learn to be strong but not rude. Strength we need, rudeness we don't need. Here's where it's important to learn the graces, not just the skills. Next, be kind but not weak. Sometimes it's easy to mistake weakness for kindness, but not true. Kindness is a powerful strength, but don't let your kindness become weakness. Next, learn to be bold but not a bully. Boldness we need, bully we don't need. Throwing weight around we don't need. Trying to impress we don't need. Express, yes, but impress, no. Next is to be thoughtful but not lazy. To dream but not just become a dreamer. To think but not just become a thinker. To have a philosophy but not to become just a philosopher. I know they call me, the great business philosopher, which I like the title, it's okay. But my philosophy says, jot it down, results is the name of the game. The name of the game is not philosophy. Philosophy is just a useful tool to set you on a good track so that a year from now you'll be in a better place than you would have on the old track. Hopefully most everybody here, maybe everybody here, is going to set a new track for your health and for your family and for your future and for your activity and for your productivity and for your spirituality and all the rest of good values. So be thoughtful but not lazy. Here's the next one. Be proud but not arrogant. Pride we need. Team pride and community pride and state pride and country pride and personal pride and family pride, but not arrogance. Don't let your pride slip into arrogance. Here's the next one. Be humble but not timid. Some people mistake timidity for humility. But humility is a virtue. Timidity is an illness, a malady that can be corrected. You can learn to drive your timidity into such a small corner, it does not now disturb the rest of the house. Here's one more. In terms of sophistication, it doesn't take much to learn and practice the art of sophistication. Here's a good one. Humor without folly. Humor has its place, but just don't cross the line so that your humor becomes folly. Next, it's okay to be witty but not silly. If you want to lead as a parent and lead as a manager and lead as an entrepreneur, if you want to lead as a community leader and lead as a senator and lead as an important person of influence and power, witty, yes. Silly, no. Next, every leader must understand the law of averages so you can use it for your benefit and for your company, anything you might be involved in. Here's what the law of averages says. If you do something often enough, you'll get a ratio of results. And anyone can create this ratio. In baseball, we simply call it batting average. If you go up to bat 10 times, get a hit, we say you're batting 100. 3 hits out of 10, you're batting 300. You don't have to be perfect going up to bat. These days, batting 250, 300, you can make $4 or $5 million a year. In sales, that's about all you got to do. You don't need to bat 1,000, right? You don't need to bat perfect. You can get plenty of no's, but the yeses can make you rich. So don't worry about the no's. Concentrate on the yeses that make you rich.
The Israelites didn't have a chance. They didn't have food, equipment, supplies, strength, experience, but God is not limited by what you don't have. He's not intimidated by how big the opposition is, by how bad the medical report looks, by what the financial statement says. God multiplied the sound of these lepers' footsteps and caused this huge army to flee for their life. They left in such a hurry, they didn't even take their belongings. They didn't even grab their tents. God knows how to quickly get rid of the opposition. Don't be discouraged by how permanent the obstacle looks or by how much bigger it seems in you. You have an advantage. The Most High God is on your side. He knows how to cause your enemies to hurry out of your way. Not gradually, not over a few months. You're about to see some things quickly turn around. Problems suddenly resolved. Enemies rapidly defeated. What's interesting is while the lepers were walking, they didn't know what God was doing. They couldn't hear what the enemy was hearing. Everything seemed normal to them, but God was doing something supernatural. You don't know what God is up to right now. While you're believing, while you're doing the right thing, everything may seem just the same, but God is talking to your enemies. He's causing them to hear what He wants them to hear. The Syrians didn't say to the lepers, okay, we'll leave. Just give us a few months to pack up our belongings. Give us some time to relocate. We need to find new property. They left suddenly in a panic. They were so afraid they fled for their lives. Some of the obstacles you're up against may seem like they have the upper hand. The sickness is bigger. You've had the addiction a long time. Feels like that trouble has you surrounded. But when it's your time, like with them, it's not going to leave gradually. It's not going to improve a little here, a little there. It's going to leave suddenly, like it's in a panic, like it's fleeing for its life. Well, Joel, this sounds encouraging, but I don't believe it's going to happen quickly for me. I've been dealing with this for a long time. You're right. It won't happen for you. This is for believers. This is for people that will let the seed take root. People that will dare say, God, I agree with what you said, that you will hasten your word to perform it. Lord, I believe for a quick work. I believe enemies are hurrying out of my way. I believe I'm going to see a rapid turnaround. A friend of mine worked for this company where his supervisor wasn't treating him right. He was jealous of him. My friend had a great attitude. I never heard him complain. He just kept doing the right thing, even though this supervisor would try to discredit him and make him look bad. This went on for several years. The supervisor was in his early 40s, been with the company almost 20 years. Looked like my friend would always have to deal with this. But one Monday morning, he went to work. The owner of the company called my friend in and said that the supervisor was leaving and this owner wanted him to have his position. My friend asked, when was this going to happen? When was he going to leave? The owner said, he left last Friday. You're the supervisor starting right now. God knows how to cause people to hurry out of your way, to do things quickly, things that you didn't see coming. That supervisor could have been there another 30 years, but he suddenly left.